We are often presented with the phony choice of we either focus on the short-term economic recovery or we address our long-term fiscal challenges. I believe we can and must do both.
What we're trying to do is make sure that Americans recognize that as we restore gravity to our long-term fiscal position, we have to make sure we do that in ways that does not undermine recovery, does not set us back on this path to healing the damage caused by the crisis, and gives us the room and the ability to invest in things like education, human capital, infrastructure, better incentives for investments in basic science and research. Those are the things that we need to be able to grow and expand opportunity in the United States going forward.
Even when the politicians finally agree on how to stabilize the debt, if the American people aren't on the same page, it won't last. So let's stop underestimating Americans and start including them in this process.
So we need a magnet in the middle, and it is the process. It is the idea that a compromise is an honorable thing, and diversity of opinion actually only works for a society when you bring it into a process with people who do differ with you. That's the most important thing, and we got to do it on this debt. But all of you have to make compromise honorable.
My view is we shouldn't be arguing about Bush tax cuts. We should be arguing about tax reform. And this is an opportunity for us not to keep the current code and add more taxes on top of it, but to reform the code in a way that economists across the board pretty much agree would result in a better economic climate.
We can't get unstuck here in Washington, D.C. because of the word taxes. And there is no way you resolve the depth of this deficit problem without dealing with taxes.
You know, Erskine Bowles, Alan Simpson, I just saw Alan back there, they're saying basically the same thing. Lower rates broaden the base. These are ideas that have generally had bipartisan support, and people of goodwill, reformers of goodwill, can compromise on these things. Many of us have already. We want to realize that vision, but you need leadership to do that.
I think the president has been doing an extraordinary job under very, very tough circumstances. And the reality is that the president put forward last summer a balanced plan. I know he did. I know a lot of the details that they put forward. They were willing to make some tough decisions, but what they're not willing to do is apply an austerity approach, which will slow down the economy. And what we will all insist on when it comes to the deficit reduction path is that it be balanced.
I think there's 50 solutions to this. The only one that doesn't work is the one we're doing now, which is nothing. Until there was some clarity, most business people are hunkered down.
I mean, you just have to have the courage to do the right thing. I mean, it appears, some in our profession worry so much about keeping their job and whatever's going on in their heads that they are blind to the 15 million plus folks who don't have one.
Regardless of what happens in the election, the electorate will take care of that. The next 2 years could be the most consequential 2 years we see in Washington and have seen in the last 50 or 60 years, because these problems are not going to go away. For 20 years, Washington hadn't done much, and we've waited almost too long. The sooner we get on this problem, the sooner we solve it, the sooner we'll be finished with it.